JLC, Jaeger-LeCoultre. JLC, a brand that's been around for more than 180 years, known for creating some of the most technically impressive watches known to man, manufacturing movements for the likes of Patek, but for some reason not included in the Holy Trinity. Let's find out why. So today I want to break down, in my opinion, the three biggest problems that JLC face today in today's market. And these problems are almost holding the brand back, and maybe explain why, even with all the history and heritage, they are struggling to compete with the very best. But before we dive in, we've got an amazing opportunity. I want to show you something special. This is my good friend Vishan's dad's watch. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Grand Reverso Duo, reference 3742421. This watch is a perfect example of JLC's genius, but also a reminder of some things the brand potentially could do better. So a quick breakdown. This is the Reverso Duo in 18K rose gold, 30 by 48.5 millimeters, manual wind, JLC caliber 986, dual time zones, small second hand on the silver dial, day-night indicator on the black side, sapphire crystal, 48 hours of power reserve. Basically, it's absolutely stunning. It's a masterpiece. A little bit big for my wrists. I'm sure you can probably tell that in the footage. I'll certainly go for a smaller size, but nevertheless, what a treat it's been to spend time with this watch. But here's the kicker. Whilst watches like this are incredible, and I think many of us know that already, JLC, in my opinion, face these three major problems that I feel make it tough for them to capture the wider luxury watch market today. So let's start off with problem number one. They are too dress heavy and they lack the entry-level sports option. Now I know what you're saying, Jag, you've got the Polaris, but for me, the Polaris is meh. And there's so many other options out there in the sports category that just completely blow it out the water. JLC's DNA is all about elegance, refinement, and of course the iconic Reverso, and some would argue the ultra-thin Moon Phase, another amazing dress watch. But here's the thing, in today's market, the challenge is that almost everybody is looking for a sports watch. That is the trend of today's market. And more importantly, people are looking for a sporty everyday watch at an entry-level price. Brands like Omega, Tudor, and even Rolex offer fantastic sports watches that you can wear every day, whether you're at the office, the gym, or on a vacation. JLC, not so much. And I do think the Polaris is a solid watch, but those brands I've just mentioned have better watches in that category. If you want a JLC that's sporty, you're looking at higher price points, I want to add, and watches that are just a little bit too niche that would appeal to the wider market. Take this Grand Reverso on my wrist. I've shown you footage of the beautiful watch. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure that all of us can agree with that. But it's a dress watch through and through, and just in today's day and age, people are not looking for dress watches. There has been a trend of vintage dress watches, but, and we'll get into pricing soon, this watch is great for a suit or a formal dinner or a special occasion, but not exactly ideal for everyday use or a weekend adventure. This dress-heavy focus is beautiful in theory, but in practice and in today's age, it limits their market appeal, especially to the younger collectors. I was going to say like myself, but I'm over 30 now, so that doesn't count. But for younger collectors that maybe want something a little bit more versatile. And let's be honest, we're in the economic climate where people, let's say, are not as flexible with their money and therefore want a watch that is just more versatile. I think that's the bottom line. Now I want to move on to problem two, and many people have talked about this, and I'm a little bit late to it, but that's because I only recently made the channel. The price hikes without the clear justification. Now, it's clear for me, I feel JLC should be there up with Vacheron, with Patek, with Alain Gonzona in terms of their pricing, and I think the management and the people at JLC also believe the same thing, and that's why their price hikes were so sudden and so drastic. However, the increase was without clear justification, Now, don't get me wrong, JLC makes some incredible movements, some of the best movements in the industry, and their finishing is top tier. This watch is testament to that, especially having spent time with it. But over the last few years, the increased prices across the board, sometimes significantly, even on their watches that haven't changed in materials or features, is unjustified and leaves a bitter taste in even the most die-hard JLC fans. For instance, if you look at the Reverso collection, the design and the movement are largely the same as previous iterations, but suddenly the retail price jumped up. This makes it very hard to convince a new buyer to spend that kind of money, where there is so much competition offering potentially more value at roughly the same price. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jag. Every brand has been increasing their price. But let me just give you an example. To buy a Duo face in 2021, I'm talking the large size here, was around 9,600 USD. Fast forward 2 years, and that exact same watch was listed for 13,300 USD. That's a 40% increase in just 2 years for the exact same watch. Now, I agree, many of the brands increased their prices and continue to do so incrementally, small percentages, but a 40% increase in 2 years. I'm not the most hardcore JLC fan, but I can imagine, and I know some hardcore JLC fans, and even they couldn't back that sort of increase in price. At the end of the day, people are paying for both the name and heritage and history, and that goes for all brands, but there's a point where the price and perceived value don't really line up. And that's where JLC starts losing its potential customers and new customers, which I think it's failing to do. And this then leads me on to the third problem, which is competition. It's hard to compete with the other brands at that price point. JLC is now competing directly with brands like Omega, Tudor, IWC, which in my opinion offer much better value propositions, and the watches that they are competing with are absolutely great. Even certain Rolexes at certain price points. The challenge is that these brands often offer either more modern or versatile designs or sports watches that appeal to wider audience. So what I'm saying here is JLC appeals to a niche in a niche. And so if you're not looking for a Reverso, if you're not looking for a dress watch, you're not going to be looking at JLC for your next watch. And again, I know there's probably a lot of you that are fans of the Polaris, and I do think it's a pretty good watch, but when you're talking about sports watches, there are so many better options out there for that price point. So even if you love the craftsmanship and the history of JLC, when you compare it side by side with the watches in the same price range, it's really hard to justify spending way more. And this is especially true for those people I've mentioned that want a versatile watch, want an everyday watch for multiple situations and not just for formal events. The irony is that JLC make brilliant watches. Like the one on my wrist, as I mentioned, the ultra thin moon phase dress watch is a beauty and it's a technical masterpiece. But because the market has shifted, a lot of people don't even consider them unless they're die-hard fans of the brand. So look, in conclusion, I've definitely overthought this. I'm guessing they're actually in a very healthy place business-wise, but I just would love to see JLC right up there with the best. And can JLC fix these issues? Absolutely, and I'm sure they will. They have the history, they have the expertise, they have the craftsmanship. I think they need to introduce a more versatile entry-level sports watch. Many of you might disagree with me. Made potentially at a price that is a little bit more approachable and position themselves more aggressively against its competitors. Now, when I say place themselves more aggressively with their competitors, I also think their marketing falls short of their competitors. They need to really change the way they market in order to, I think, widen the audience and widen their reach, especially if they do bring out a new sports watch. And I really hope they bring a disruptive sports watch into the market, because I would champion that. Look, at the end of the day, JLC is a brand that, of course, is worth paying attention to. It's a legendary brand, but I'm just upset that it's not up there with the likes of Patek, especially if you look at history, at the fact that they manufactured movements. They are the watchmaker's watchmaker after all. Let me know in the comments which of these problems you feel is the biggest, any problems that I haven't actually highlighted in this video potentially. What is your take? I would love to know. As usual, this is a community I'm trying to create here, so I love reading your comments and replying back to them, especially the funnier ones. And of course, I want to say a huge thank you to Vishan, my friends Dad, for allowing me to spend some time with this amazing, beautiful watch, especially in the 18 karat gold. I think this is probably the most expensive watch to this point on the channel. So thank you so much. As usual, if you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and like it. It really supports the channel. And if you've made it to the end, you can also become a member of the channel. It really helps support the channel and allows me to continue making this content for you. I've been Jag from Jag's Watches, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.